So I haven't had a whole lot to say about the past couple of books because, you know, Abaddon's Gate was good just because of, like, the atmosphere and the themes that it had, and Cibola Burn just didn't have a lot in it worth mentioning. But this one I think is going to be a little bit longer because Nemesis Games is not my personal favorite, but probably the best in the Expanse.
This is the introduction song. It's not very good, but it's not too long.
There'll be some minor spoilers for this one, but honestly, it's very, very difficult to actually talk about it and explain why it's good without some minor spoilers. So, if that bothers you, you should probably leave now. This one starts kind of normal, kind of the same as the series has been for a while, you know. There's some stuff going on in the colony worlds through the gates, and, you know, back in the solar system that's starting to affect things a lot. Like, the population of Mars has crashed completely because just so many people are leaving. And then we enter the crew of the Rocinante, and at the beginning of the book, they all sort of split apart. Not permanently, obviously, but they all have their own business to deal with, so they all go to different places. Like, Holden is hanging out on Tycho with Fred Johnson and them. Naomi goes to Ceres to deal with some old acquaintances. Alex goes to Mars. And Amos goes back to his hometown on Earth. And the biggest thing that I really, really liked about this is that we finally get some development from those guys. Now, Alex had a little bit in Cibola Burn, and, you know, he had a fun personality and all, but we didn't really know much about his backstory or why he was the way he was. He was just, you know, kind of the fun pilot dude. And then, same with Amos, you know, we had an idea of what had gone on in his past, but we didn't really know all the gritty details and why he was such a... Well, let's be real for a second, he's kind of a psycho, and we didn't know why he was like that. And then he goes to Earth and we see, oh, okay, so you were raised in this environment, that's why. Okay, that was great, and I loved it. And then Naomi, they hinted at the fact that she used to be in the OPA, but now they confirmed it. Not a big spoiler, sorry. And then other shit gets crazy. I don't really want to say exactly what is going on there, but it's pretty good for Naomi as well. And then with Mars, you know, its population collapsed, which caused its economy and its government to fall into disarray, and there's a lot of shit going wrong. Like, there's a lot of their ships and equipment are missing, and they don't know where it's going. And then out of nowhere, boom, fucking asteroid hits Earth. And it was done on purpose by a really radical faction of the OPA. And after that kicks the whole book into high gear. Really the whole series, because the next two books seem to be, the events of those seem to be directly tied to this asteroid hitting Earth. And it's a big-ass asteroid. They got it going really fast. It just completely fucks everything to pieces on Earth. And, you know, obviously Amos is stuck down there. So his storyline is great with just him trying to escape. And then the radical faction of the OPA is also doing simultaneous other strikes all around the solar system. Like, they attack Tycho. You know, not a big surprise there, because, you know, Fred Johnson is generally viewed as the face of the OPA, and they're attacking him because they want to be the new face. And it's just crazy. You know, like, this is the first time in the Expanse, other than maybe Leviathan Wakes, that we actually have a really quick-moving plot with a lot of twists and turns, and we're always wondering what's happening next. Because while I do like the series, it's usually pretty more of a slow burn sort of thing. And this is honestly a welcome change. This is also the only time, other than Abaddon's Gate, that we've had, like, a really, really good villain here. Now, I don't think he's amazing, but that's just because his personality is kind of dull, you know? He doesn't... Like, the characters describe him as having charisma, but I don't know, I didn't feel it that way. You know, his dialogue and everything just seems kind of standard. But his motivations are very good. It makes sense. Like, with all the new colony worlds out there, the Belters are basically not needed anymore. Like, in the new economy, all their, you know, all their mining and all that, all their expertise, that's no longer needed. And for a lot of them, they aren't even able to move to the new planets or anything. Because, their bodies are just used to low gravity, so they'll either be crippled or dead if they tried that. And that is a bit of a plot hole, admittedly, because, like, at one point in the second book, in one of Bobby's chapters, they mention that Belters go to Earth on occasion, and in the Cibola Burn, all the people from Ganymede were on Ilis, which had even higher gravity than Earth, and it mentions they had to, build up their strength and exercise and take some drugs in order to get their bone density up, but I mean, it never mentioned any of them being crippled. Whereas in this, the bad guy, his name's Marco, by the way, I don't think I mentioned that, he says that about a third of Belters will be crippled if this happens, and it just doesn't make sense. It's a little bit of a plot hole. In fact, there are several points in this series that kind of contradict itself on that, but that's not too important at the moment. It's just more of an annoyance than anything. So overall, Nemesis Games is a great book. It actually has a very quick-moving plot with lots of twists and turns. You're always wondering what happens next. All the characters get much needed development, seriously, because other than Holden, the crew of the Rocinante they weren't that great up until this one. And after this, they're all very good. And then it ends on a great cliffhanger. Other than Caliban's War, there's no cliffhangers better than this one. And just seeing the new villains is great. Wondering where all this is going to lead to is great. Because, I mean, like I said before, this series makes you feel like you're watching the evolution of humanity in real time. And it's incredible. This one really kicks it into high gear. And, if you've read this far, then obviously keep reading. But if you felt disappointed by Cibola Burn and you thought maybe you should stop, don't stop. This is great.